4:30, the mortar attack starts. I'm in the middle of the camp, and I literally grabbed men and said, "You go to that pit to load." And then I went over and peered over the mortar pit at where this Special Forces guy was the in charge. He said, "Alan," he said, "Captain, I need a Special Forces loader." So I grabbed my NCO on my team and grabbed him and asked him to go be a loader there. He was wounded. The man I grabbed to go to that mortar pit was wounded. When I first got, and then I was yelling out to them, I figured by that time the enemy was in the positions firing where we saw people the night before. Figured that out. The XO that had survived the ambush a few days before came up and handed me a Prick 6, which is a handheld radio operator, radio. And he said, communicate with the CO downstairs. And I said, fine, you know. So I started yelling out, expecting perhaps a ground attack. I don't know if they could have had canoes or dugouts on the river ready to come in on that level, or they could have been anywhere on the other sides of the camp to come in and get us. So I was yelling out, get flare. I was getting flares up in the air. You know, I said, fire flares, south wall, so we can spot them if they're coming across, because the Montagnards were all in there firing parapets around the entire camp. We were inner perimeter, of course. So I had my AR-15 here, holding the Prick 6 here when I got hit. And so the first thing I said was, oh God, I'm dead. And I don't know why I thought that, but I assumed I was. I didn't know what had happened. I was just flat on my stomach, you know. And then one combat medic that didn't have his medical kit with him came to me, I found out in the early 2000s, and held my arteries, cut my arteries off, literally using his fingers and thumb. So it was Sergeant St. Lawrence that basically saved my life immediately, because I would have bled to death. So another Special Forces sergeant, weapons guy, put me on a litter, took me over toward Sergeant Jimmy Hill, the combat medic for the camp, to get into his bunker. And as he came up to help me, a round hit about over there, and the blast hit him in the shoulder. So he took shrapnel in his shoulder, knocked him back into the bunker. So they brought me into the bunker, and I mean, I remember being on my stomach, being totally lucid, and I mean, it was kind of like this and this, a 90-degree corner to get into the bunker. I remember helping the two of them maneuver it. You can imagine. So I get down, I'm put on Jimmy Hill's bunk, still on my stomach. I have no idea how bad things were. But I do remember, I have a recollection that an Air Force major that had come in the night before on a spotter plane was on the ground right next to me with a fin in his head, okay? So I'm there, and we began to have a dialogue. And that's why when I tell Jimmy, treat everybody else. I don't know why I was so magnanimous, but I was, you know. Didn't have any morphine yet, I don't think. But I was magnanimous, whatever. You know, I wasn't trying to be holier than thou or being any big deal, but I thought about other people. I guess if I'd known how bad I was hurt, I sure wouldn't have asked him to treat anybody else, you know. Came back in with morphine and plasma and gave it to me, and so that, of course, saved my life. So in the course of being in the bunker and being very wounded, we began to have a dialogue, and by that time, Puff the Magic Dragon, the Air Force gunship with Gatling guns on the side, came and began putting fire on the enemy. So we began to talk, and I said, you know, Jimmy, I'm undercover here, and would you please be sure if I die that you let my wife know what happened? And he said, Captain, you're not going to die. I'm going to take care of you. And he said, you know, there's someone else in the bunker with us. Of course, it meant the Lord. So he did. He did a good job on me, kept me from, you know, patched me up, gave me morphine so I wouldn't have any pain. By the time they brought me out of the his bunker to go over to the medevac choppers. It was daylight. So I remember, I still didn't know what had happened to me. Nobody told me. And I come up, commanding officer of the C team, the A team, the captain was standing there. I says, I'll be back this afternoon. I had no idea what was wrong with how badly things had hit me. My medic, Jimmy Hill, treated 70 wounded Americans in Montagnard. 2 killed in action. The Air Force guys that came in the night before and were in our Quonset bunk next to his bunker. And then 7 Americans wounded. I'd sent 2 to mortar pits. 1 came to help me, and then I don't know what happened to him, but I saw him later in the, what do you call it, the ambulance, taking us to the big planes to get us out of there. So anyway, it was a very special time with Jimmy. We're in contact with each other. He has a memorial on his little farm where he has a memorial with concrete plaques to the 2 guys that were in his camp that got killed in action on that first ambush. Many millions of Americans in combat. First World War, Second World War, Korea, Vietnam, all the current actions, Desert Storm, and Iraq and Afghanistan. Many more suffered and did valorous things that never got recognized at all. And I was just, I guess, blessed to be noted and recognized and written up and had the Silver Star presented to me. And I obviously wore it with great honor in my uniform and my medals and so forth. But I know that many others did many more valorous activities and never were recognized. And I was, so I accept it. That's reality therapy.